So first, moving into the introduction, as you know, Lisp Python supports different types of data types like numbers, strings, bool, and all of that. These values you can store like in different variables, but sometimes we need a list of similar or like different types of data in one single unit, or we need something like which prepare a set of similar of different values. Like here is an example. Let's assume a student as an object or whatever it is. Now a student can have like roll number, name, class, date of birth, etc. This details like we want to use in a program in a single unit. So this will be helpful. So this is basically the definition of what list is. The data type list is an ordered sequence which is mutable and made up of one or more elements. Unlike a string, which consists of only characters, a list can have elements of different data types such as integer, float, string, tuple, or even another list. A list is very useful to group elements of mixed data types. Elements of a list are enclosed in square brackets and are separated by comma. So now we will study, like we will look how to create a list. To create a list, square brackets are used. All of you know that, I guess. So to create an empty list can be created when you need add values later or sizes fixed. So this is an empty list, like two square brackets, nothing in it. And list of numerical values. Like you can see there are numbers, there are integers, and there is square brackets separated by comma. That is list of numerical values. So this is like list of mixed numbers like float and integers. This is a collection of float and integers. And this one, list of letters. Like we can tell this is string also because string is what it is enclosed in. So yeah, we can call it as a string also, but this as we see here, it is list of letters. Then list of words, like any words can be used. Like, but if we see into it, we can call it as string also. Like as we need, we can call it. And list of mixed, like we can mix different data types into one list. As you can see here, it's like in the previous one I told name, roll number, date of birth. It's one student or one student, student's name, date of birth, roll number is in this list. So empty list is list with no element. Long list containing many of elements. And nested list, a list within a list. So as I told earlier, to create an empty list, declare one list and initialize with square brackets without any value. That is called as an empty list, as you can see here. So list. So for L, we are giving like an empty list. An empty list is shown here. How we can create an empty list. So it is basically an empty list named L. So next we are going to learn about nested lists. A list can be element of another list. It is a list within a list. So you can see here this is one list, and inside that there is another list. The list name is L. I have given L as the name. So basically how to access the values, it is shown here. Like L of 0 will be 1. We are looking it from the index value. So L of 0 with 0 index value, it is 1. And L of 1, it is 2. And L of 2 of 0, it will be 56 because it is a nested list. So basically, that's how by using indexing method, we can access the values from that. And creating a list from an existing sequence. The list method in Python takes sequence type and converts a given record or tuple or string into one list, creating a list from an existing sequence using this built-in function list. So empty list, you can see like how to create like an empty list created with function list. This is from an existing sequence. As you can see, list 1 equal to list and brackets. So basically list 1. And we'll get an empty list. As shown here with empty brackets, empty square brackets, it's an empty list. So creating a list from a sequence, like a string. So list 1 equal to list, and in brackets, it's study. So when we enter list 1, it will be formed like this. In a square bracket, study, S comma, T comma, U comma, like that as string.
As
A string.
okay.
Creating a list through user input using list method. So a new list can be created by extracting elements from the user through command prompt and using built-in method list. So here you can see list 1 equal to list input, enter the values. So enter the values, we will be inputting like hello or whatever words you want or whatever sentence or whatever it is. So when we enter print list 1, we'll get the result as like H comma, you can see here H comma, E comma, L comma as string. That's it. Thank you.
Any question is there, Aparna, for asking?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So next time onwards, prepare some questions based on that topic. Okay. Nice presentation, Aparna. So here we just revise the topic based on this list. So I will give some questions based on this list. That is, I'll give one program based on this. We already done that program. Repeat the same program in your Python interpreter. Okay. My question is, write the question. Write a program to find the sum of. Write a program. All of you switch on the video. Nestle, Aparna, Sanjana, Tushar, Irene. All of you switch on the video. Okay. Or have some network issue. So this network issue will over within this 3 or 4 days. Okay. Because you are coming here. We are starting our offline session. Okay. So ready with your rough practical book. What is that? I already give some programs related with Python. I'll ask you to do that program in interpreter, and after completing or after correcting the errors, write the program in a notebook and write the output also. A number of programs are there. So ready with that programs. Okay, that book. I want to check that practical rough book. Okay, that is the rough code for you. Okay, okay. So my question is, write a program to find the sum of all elements in a list. So write the program first and do it in your interpreter, Python interpreter. If you didn't download this Python interpreter, take your online interpreter. Okay, just type Python online interpreter in Google, then you will get online interpreter. Type the program there. Okay. If any doubt related with Python interpreter downloading, just ask. Is it ready, Sarah? Your interpreter? No.
I'm using phone
You are using
tab
phone.
actually.
Okay, okay. Then how you do this program? Okay, you just write the program in the notebook. Tushar, did you complete that program? Tushar? Are you there, Tushar? No. Irene, what about you? Okay. Then share your screen, Irene. Just share your screen. Irene, okay. Irene, is it possible? Irene? Aparna, what about your program? Are not audible, Aparna. Sanjana?
Yes, ma'am.
Then share your screen, Sanjana.
Ma'am, I'm on my phone now. I can't share.
Okay, okay, okay. So read the statements. How we can do that program, which is the first statement. First, you want to create one list. How we can create one list?
Ma'am, I don't remember.
Why? The seminar topic is also based on that. Okay. Then Aparna, how we can create one list? It is based on your topic. No, Nestle? I will write the good answer. Here it is L1 is equal to, I am writing some value here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So in this L1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 means I am creating one list based on some integer values. Is it clear, Sanjana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So my question is to find the sum of elements. Okay, find the sum of these elements, that is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. That is the program. Okay, so for that, first you want to give one initial value 0 to a variable sum. Sum is equal to 0. Sum is equal to 0 means I want to store the result of this addition into this variable sum. So before storing the result, I just initialize this variable sum with the new value, that is 0. That is only because to erase the previous contents. So if any previous value is there in that sum, it will erase and initialize this variable with a new value 0. For that, we are using sum is equal to 0. Okay. Then after that, sum is equal to 0. After that, we are using one for loop, that is for I in L1. Sum is equal to sum plus I. This is also one lab program. So do this program in your interpreter, and after correcting the error and after running, just write the program in the notebook and also write the output. Okay, so sum is equal to sum plus I. After that, print sum. Okay, so L1 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Using this statement, I'm creating a list with this 5 value. And after that, I am initializing a variable sum with 0. After that, for I in L1, this for loop is for traversing through this list. That is for finding the sum. First, you want to take this first value. Then you want to take second value, then third value, fourth value, fifth value, just like that. Okay. So for that, we are using this for loop for I in L1. So what is the content of L1, Sarah? Here, what is the content of L1?
1.
All the contents are there. It is not
1.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So here L1 include 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. L1 means it is the list. So the values are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the first value of I, it is 1. Okay. So first iteration, I will take the first value, that is 1. So the value it is, I value it is 1. After that, it will execute the statement sum is equal to sum plus I. So here sum is equal to sum plus I is the equation. What is the I value? I value it is 1. What is sum? Nestle, what is sum here? Nestle,
Yes, ma'am.
what is sum here? What is the value of sum here?
0.
Ah, correct, Nestle, it is 0. So 0 plus 1, which is equal to 1. After that, 2 is assigned to I. So I value it is 2. What is the value of sum? Sum value it is 1. So what is the result? It is 2 plus 1, 3. Then I will take third value. It is 3. 3 plus, what is the sum value? Now the sum value is 3. So 3 plus 3, it is 6. Then sum value it is 6. Next value of I, it is 4. So 6 plus 4, it is 10. Then what about this last value? Last I value it is 5. 5 plus some value it is 10. So 10 plus 5, it is 15. Is it clear? Okay. So this is the program to find the sum of elements. Okay. So any doubt related with this list?
Ma'am, what is I?
I is a variable name. Okay. For iterating or for taking one by one, the values of this list one by one, I'm using a for loop. The format of this for loop, it is after for you want to use a variable here. Any variable you can write A, B, C, any. But here I'm using the variable name I. Okay. For taking each and every element one by one from this list. So first value of I it is 1, second value of I it is 2, third value it is 3, 4, 5, just like that. Is it clear, Sanjana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any doubt related with this list portion? No. Okay. So our last portion, that is based on that term 1 portion, is also completed. We can just revise the topics. So the previous period, the topic we discussed it is okay. So we are discussing about different types of software. So Friday onwards, we can start the new chapter. It is not related with this Python. It is related with database management system. Did you heard about DBMS? DBMS, it is database management system. Okay. For that, we are using one language. It's not Python. It is SQL, that is structured query language. Okay. So Monday onwards, we are starting that chapter. So we can just revise some more. Some are absent in the previous class, so we can just revise the topics. So we are discussing about different types of software. There are mainly 3 types of software. It is application software, system software, and utility software. And the last topic we discussed it is secondary storage unit. Okay, secondary storage unit is used to store data permanently. Okay, those who are absent in that previous class, you can just write the notes based on the secondary storage. So secondary storage unit is used to store data permanently. It consists of different types. You already know about different types of storage, secondary storage unit. First one, it is hard disk. Hard disk, it is the most commonly used storage device to store data on a computer. It consists of multiple magnetic plates. That is, a hard disk is a combination of a set of magnetic plates, just like a normal plate. So it is not an, I will just imagine it is just like a normal plate. So hard disk means it's a collection of plates, and each plate is divided into different tracks. This is known as tracks. And each track, this is track. Each track is divided into different sectors. Okay, so hard disk, it consists of multiple magnetic plates and heads to read and write data. So in this sector position, we are writing some data, either 1 or 0. We are writing that data in this sector. And there is a head for reading and writing data to the sector or from the sector. Okay. And so the division is also there. That is, magnetic plates are further divided into tracks. Tracks is further divided into sectors. Okay. Then maximum capacity of hard disk is 15 TB. And next secondary storage device, it is compact disk. It is CD. What is the expansion of CD? It is compact disk. You want to learn this term. Compact disk. CD means compact disk. CD is an optical disk to store data. Then there are mainly 3 types of CDs. First one, it is same as that of this 3 types of CD. 3 types of DVD is also there. The same method we are using, but the capacity, memory capacity is high. Based on this CD, the capacity of DVD is high. That is the difference, and clarity is also high. So in the case of CD-ROM, the first type, it is CD-ROM. Learn this expansion. CD-ROM, it is compact disk read-only memory. Compact disk read-only memory. These are pre-recorded CDs provided by manufacturers. These are pre-recorded CDs provided by manufacturers. That is, the manufacturers will already write the data in that CD-ROM. We can just read that contents. That is just like a music CDs. The manufacturers recorded that music in that CD, and we buy that CDs and we can hear that music. We can't write anything in that CD. That is compact disk read-only memory. We can hear the music, but we can't edit. That is CD-ROM, that is compact disk read-only memory. The next one, it is CDR. CDR means it is compact disk recordable. Recordable means once we can record. After buying that empty CD, once we can write the data, but we can't edit after the writing. We can't edit the content. Okay, that is compact disk recordable. That is only once we can write data. Okay. Then next, it is CDRW. In the case of CDRW, that is compact disk rewritable. Compact disk rewritable means many times we can, that is multiple times we can read and write the data into that CD. That is CDRW. Compact disk rewritable means these types of CDs can be erased and recorded multiple times. Just like when we use a normal pencil in our notebook. We can just write the data in the notebook using a pencil, and after erase, we can use, we can write again and again in that notebook. Just like that, it is compactable disk rewritable. These types of CDs can be erased and recorded multiple times. Okay. The next one, it is Blu-ray disc. Blu-ray disc is optical disc. Okay. Optical disc that can store high definition videos and data, and the memory capacity is also high. That is, they can store up to 128 GB of data. That is another secondary storage device. Next one, it is pen drive. pen drive, it is a common secondary store. Sorry. Pen drive, it is one of the common secondary storage device we are using. The duplicate name or alternate name for this pen drive, it is flash memory. You want to learn this term. Flash memory. It is also called flash memory. It is a solid state memory that can store more than 128 GB of data. The next one, it is digital versatile disk, DVD. You want to learn the expansion of DVD. It is digital versatile disk. Just like our CD types, here also 3 types are there. The first one, it is DVD-ROM, it is read-only memory, just like CD. And DVD-R, it is digital versatile disk, it is recordable. And DVD-RW, it is digital versatile disk, rewritable. The definition is same as that of CD types. That is in the case of DVD-ROM, these are pre-recorded DVDs provided by manufacturers. But in the case of DVD-R, data can be recorded on only once. In the case of RW, we can erase and record multiple times. Okay. It's not in your, one more is there, one more topic, that is generation. I'll just give an introduction to generation. Okay. Generation of computer. Here generation is there. Generation of computer, there are 5 generation, and Sarah, you will discuss all these topics and some examples based on the textbook. Okay, this is the just a summary of this generation. Okay, I'll give the correct topics related with this generation for you. Okay, so generation, first generation, it is from 1944 to 59. In that first generation, the computer will use vacuum tubes. That is the first generation. Okay. So first generation, the year is from 1944 to 59. That is the component used in that first generation computer, it is vacuum tubes. Okay. So it is bigger in size. So to reduce the size, at the time of second generation, they will use transistors. The year it is 59 to 64. There is no need of by hearting this year. Learn these characteristics. Okay. So for first generation, the first generation computer will use vacuum tube. Second generation computer will use transistors. Third generation computer will use large scale integrated circuit, that is LCIC. That is large scale integrated circuits. And fourth generation will use very large scale integrated circuit. All these terms are related with physics, that is based on IC, that is integrated circuit. So fourth generation, it is from 1975 onwards. It used very large scale integrated circuit. And in the case of last section, it is fifth generation. It used artificial intelligence based on computers. This artificial, using that Python, we can implement this artificial intelligence very easily. Okay. So this is the summary of generation of computer. Okay.